Welcome again, everybody. Thank you for this wonderful turnout. We had a great turnout last year, and we're following on with another good one this year, and I'm really pleased to see that. It shows that maybe there is hope for this caucus to go on for another 110 years, as it's done already. And we appreciate your involvement and look for this to continue. So, first thing to discuss is the use of this facility being provided to us by the village board. It's a wonderful facility, and we also get with it the village manager who assists us as a chaperone and saves us additional custodial fees. So thank you to the village board, and thank you to Mr. Zagarelli for his assistance. We know this year, we have two positions open for village trustee. And of course, the People's Caucus Executive Committee is up for election for 1-year terms. The village trustee terms are 2 years. I don't have much else to bring out in terms of comments because not a lot new has happened. So we'll start with our stand-in for our secretary. Larissa, would you take the next item?
Yes, of course. Approval of the minutes of January 9, 2019 nominating meeting. Do I have a vote to suspend the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Second? Thank you.
Thank you. Could you make notes of who noted that? Okay, so we will dispense with the reading of the minutes. Anybody who wishes a copy of it, they're in the back, along with other documents, including the broadcast schedule for these meetings on Altice, and you can help yourselves to those. There's also a treasurer's report in the back, and since our treasurer is out sick, looks like I'll be giving you that report. So let's get right to that. And rather than read it all, I'm just going to summarize it, if I can find it. Okay, so we ended our last fiscal period on January 3rd of 2019 with a balance of just over $2,800. We raised between the 2019 election cycle and this election cycle to date an additional $1,975. We currently have just under $1,700 in available funds. There's a listing of the expenses that we've incurred in that time period, which is just under $4,000. So moving forward, we have planned for a budget of $4,500 in expenditures. And in order to achieve that, we need to raise close to $3,000 additional dollars in contributions or other fundraising activities. So hopefully we will have some additional funds coming in from members of the audience, and we appreciate anything you can do. That's the long and short of the treasurer's report. If there are any questions, I'm sure Mr. Giampo will be happy to answer them by email. If not, you can address it to me, and I'll take that task on. The broadcast schedule has the video that Cecilia Mastroilli, forgive me, of VisiTouch Media, who records these meetings for us and does a wonderful job editing them and getting them posted to the Altice website. Will be first aired on Saturday, January 11th at 3 p.m., Sunday, January 12th at 2, Monday, January 13th at 6 p.m., and Tuesday, January 14th at 10:30 p.m. The Meet the Candidates meetings have similar dates and times starting on the Saturday following the meeting. At this point, we will open the floor for nominations for the positions of 2 village trustees. Do I have any nominations? Mr. Mayor?
I'm going to nominate Sabina Coe.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Michelle Warner, thank you. You're too slow. All right, sounds good. The second was Michelle Werner, Woerner. Are there, after the nominations are taken, we will give the nominee a chance to make a presentation about the nominee, and then the nominees will come up and make a presentation to you as to their interests in the village, what they are looking to accomplish, and why you should support them in a vote. Do we have any other nominations for village trustee?
My name is Michael King. I'd like to nominate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Truth is, we waited for Gary to arrive. Not yet. You make your nomination first.
I nominate Kevin Hunt.
I second it. Did we get a second on that? I'm sorry. That was fast. I don't remember your name. No, that's. I know that. That Mudman was my son's nickname in baseball when Lou coached him. So, that's the extent of my humor for the night, so you'll have to live with that. At this point, let's call up the persons who made the nominations in their order to give a presentation. Mr. Mayor, would you come up to the podium, please? Announce your name and your address, and then proceed.
Okay. My name is Robert Mayer. I live at 114 River Road. First, I'd like to thank the executive committee of the Caucus for all their efforts on behalf of the village. It's a great institution, and it's a lot of work, and it really benefits all of us, so thank you very much. I am pleased to nominate Sabina Werner is the position of trustee of the village of Briarcliff Manor. Sabina and her husband Rick, along with their 2 children, have lived in Briarcliff for the past 8 years, and she has been and continues to be an active participant in the life of the village. Sabina has served the community on various school boards, as well as being a member of the all-important planning board and worked on the B-Zone Advisory Committee. Her professional life has provided her with expertise in finance, not only for major corporations, but also for municipalities and urban development projects in the New York City area. Indeed, she holds a master's degree from Columbia University School of International and Public Affairs. In short, I can think of a few residents with the experience and expertise that will lend itself immediately to the work our current Board of Trustees is undertaking. In fact, having served for many years on the Board of Trustees, I can safely say that Sabina will be an immediate benefit to an already talented and professional Board of Trustees. The village can ask for more for someone running for trustee. And finally, for those of you who may not have noticed, Sabina is a woman. And I believe it is critical in this day and age to have someone representing the varied interests of the village on the board. As talented a board as we now have, her life experience will provide for a more balanced and nuanced approach to issues impacting the village. I hope you will join me in voting to support Sabina's candidacy for the Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I noticed that your sense of humor is as dry as it always was. I don't think anybody misses the fact that Sabina's a woman. So. Anyway, Mr. Lyons, will you come up and give a presentation?
Presentation? I don't know if you got a presentation.
Well, I give you 3 minutes.
Yeah, I get 3 minutes.
Song and dance is allowed.
This is like the former trustee club tonight, nominating people. My name is Gary Lyons. It's my distinct pleasure to nominate Kevin Hunt for the nomination of the People's Caucus for village trustee in the upcoming election. As you probably know, Kevin is completing his first term as a trustee and is running for re-election. Susan and I have lived on Scarborough Road, which is probably the epicenter of the current development controversy, for 37 years. We've raised our family there. Our children have gone to school. I was a trustee and I was on the planning board. I know how difficult it is to be a trustee or a planning board member, how much time and effort people put in, even the mundane issues that come before the board. I also know the importance of the Village Caucus and thank them for the role that they play in the village. I've known Kevin and his family for virtually all of their 22 years in Briarcliff. I also worked with him during my time at Cadbury Beverages and at Snapple. In addition to being a close friend and work colleague, Kevin has been a valuable addition to the Briarcliff volunteer community and the Board of Trustees. I'll also say that he's a master motivator, because about 6 hours ago I was in Fort Lauderdale and now I'm here freezing. But I'm here and it's my pleasure. Kevin has been a member of the Briarcliff Fire Department and ambulance for more than 14 years. 10 years as an officer in ambulance and 8 years as captain. As a member of the Board of Trustees, Kevin spearheaded the creation of ambulance billing, 99% of which is covered by Medicare and private insurance, which has proved a valuable income stream to the village. He also pioneered electronic record keeping for the ambulance. In addition to his other board activities, he serves as liaison to the village library. Kevin has a conscientious and thorough approach to his role as trustee and can be trusted to bring that to decisions involving the important issues that we face as a community, including those of traffic and development. Again, I served on the planning board and board of trustees and know that the many hours of work that go into these volunteer positions with talented people like Kevin make our village the special place that it is. Again, I am most pleased and proud to nominate Kevin Hunt to be the candidate of the People's Caucus for trustee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. I should point out Gary rushed here straight from a flight to make this nomination, so you should feel honored, Kevin. As should you, Sabina, because we have two august trustees who served this community for many years who have put your names in nomination. At this point, if you'd like to come up and make a presentation to the audience. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. Bob, thank you for that amazing introduction and for the nomination. And thank you, Aaron and Larissa, for running a nonpartisan election process, and of course the rest of the committee members too when they arrive for our village. I am so excited to be running for village trustee. I love Briarcliff, but more importantly, I believe in Briarcliff. My husband and I moved here in 2011 from Manhattan. Our 2 children attend Todd's school. Like so many others, we chose Briarcliff because we wanted to live in a small community within a reasonable commute of New York City. We were impressed with the Briarcliff School District, and we loved the scenic landscapes and the convenient access to so many parks and trails. And Briarcliff offers us so much. Our children attend tree camp, they play soccer and basketball here, they take cooking classes here, the community center, they're enrolled in reading clubs at the library. We enjoy Community Day every September and the Ragamuffin Parade and so many other events throughout the year. But what is really wonderful about Briarcliff, and one of the main reasons I am running for village trustee, is its vast potential. Briarcliff is steeped in rich, natural, historic characteristics that are underutilized and underappreciated. Our central business district has the potential to be so much more attractive and inviting to residents and passersby. Our parks and trails can be further developed and improved to derive economic benefits from them and to preserve home values. Naturally, there are complicated issues to synthesize and then to translate into smart, sustainable economic plans. I believe our current mayor and board of trustees are deeply dedicated to improving Briarcliff and are on the right path. I believe that I would be an excellent addition to the Board of Trustees given my work experience, proven commitment to Briarcliff, and strong understanding of the issues facing our community and how to improve our community for everyone. I have learned so much about our community from my past volunteer work. I have served on the Village Planning Board since 2015, and in 2016 and 2017, I was on the B-Zone Advisory Committee. I have also actively volunteered in the Briarcliff Manor School District, serving on the PTA as a class parent, and I'm a former member of the Audit Committee of the school board. My professional background is in community development, specifically project finance. I worked in Citibank's Community Capital Group and subsequently at 2 not-for-profit loan funds. I have helped finance community and economic development projects ranging from microloans to refugees and asylees to mixed-use real estate projects valued at up to $1 billion. I have the experience and the confidence to ask the right questions concerning the future use of properties in the B-zone. Over the past few months, I have spoken with dozens of residents, including many of you in this room, about your concerns and wishes for Briarcliff. If elected, I will push for an even safer intersection of Route 9A and North State Road, perhaps by posting a crossing guard during rush hour, or adjusting the traffic lights, or working with a traffic expert for other options. I will push for improved access to parking in our downtown, whether it be through the creation of additional parking spaces or limiting the time for loading for commercial trucks. I will push for the creation of interactive experiences on our trails that would engage children and adults alike in their surroundings. I will push for the expanded use of outside monies for village projects. The last time we applied for a grant to develop our trails was in 2008, which is 12 years ago. I will push for the implementation of a coordinated village signage system that displays the location and other details of our historic parks, trails, and our historic sites. And I will push for a community garden with activities designed to bring seniors and children together, and a mural on Village Hall, perhaps designed by a member of our community. I promise that if I am elected, I will give all that I can to preserve what we love about Briarcliff and to further propel Briarcliff forward. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I hope you'll come to the Meet the Candidates event next Wednesday, and don't forget to vote Wednesday, January 22nd. Thank you.
Just add for Sabina, exactly 5 minutes, so it's nice to know you've got timing down pat. Now we'll call the second nominee, Mr. Kevin Hunt.
Good evening to you all. First of all, a very big thank you to Gary Lyons for making his way up from the airport, and then also a thank you to Mike King, Chief of the Briarcliff Manor Fire Department, for almost giving the nomination. And a big thank you to Aaron and Larissa and the People's Caucus for all the good work that you do. It really makes a difference. I've said this before, but it's no less true. I love this village. I really love this village because it's the very first place that ever felt like home. I have moved around a lot, 7 times before finishing 3rd grade, 4 times in 1990 alone. Finally, my wife and I moved to Briarcliff with our family in August of 1997. That's over 22 years in this village, and it seems like we moved in yesterday. I'm incredibly blessed to be able to live in this beautiful village. I do not take this for granted in the least. For the last nearly 14 plus years, I've been a very proud member of the Briarcliff Manor Fire Department and Ambulance. I have had the privilege of helping my neighbors over 3,000 separate times over the course of those years on what may very well have been the very worst days of their lives. I am an EMT, an interior firefighter. I drive ambulances, the Tower Ladder 40, which my kids think was very cool when they were in 3rd grade, and Rescue 37, and I received the Joseph Piazzi Award of Excellence in 2016. When someone is thanked, it's not unusual to say any time in response. I, along with the wonderful people in the Briarcliff Manor Fire Department, know the real meaning of any time. Any time means just that, 3 p.m., 3 a.m., in the middle of dinner, on holidays, on work days, on weekdays. Any time means any time. And when I do respond to help someone, particularly as an EMT, I need to be very focused, quick thinking, and rely on my training in order to effectively provide the assistance needed. I think I have done a very good job with that. I was also captain of the ambulance for 8 years with a great deal of responsibility in helping to make sure that Briarcliff Manor Village residents receive the emergency medical care consistently and professionally. I've also been a Briarcliff Manor Village trustee for the last year. That is also an incredibly good way to give back to the community. But it relies on a very different set of skills. A village trustee needs to think strategically and thoughtfully on a very broad array of issues facing the village and its residents. My 25-plus year background in consumer packaged goods marketing has and will serve me very well in addressing these issues. It's not an emergency mindset. It is a careful and thoughtful strategic exercise. Time is still very much of the essence, but it is rarely a life and death situation. This past year has been incredibly rewarding. I have learned a lot and have contributed meaningfully. I have a great relationship with the current Board of Trustees, the mayor, the village manager, and staff. We do not agree on everything all the time, but we do all listen to each other and thoughtfully consider points of view that are not our own. Having a very smart group of people working together is the formula for how to make a meaningful difference for our village. There is a lot of important work to do. We need to improve our downtown business district. We need to make sure we protect and maintain the look and feel of our village with the development of commercial properties and much, much more, as Sabina so well put forth. I am very excited to be a vital part of doing all of that. Just to reiterate a couple of highlights from my experience and my background, in the last year as trustee, I led the effort for our ambulance services to bill our ambulance services. Well over $200,000 has been collected in ambulance billing, the vast majority of that coming from Medicare and private insurance. In an effort to streamline that effort, the Briarcliff Ambulance now uses electronic medical records for documentation of service and ease of billing administration. I have also participated fully in all aspects of board activities. I received a Bachelor of Science degree from Cornell University and my MBA from Columbia University. I have 25-plus years of experience working for blue-chip consumer packaged goods concerns such as Unilever, Snapple, Cadbury Schweppes, and Kraft. I have worked on the strategic marketing efforts of national brands such as Snapple, RC Cola, Imperial Margarine, Mrs. Butterworth, and many other national and regional food and beverage brands that you've likely heard of. I really do love this village, and I have gotten back more than what I have put in. As I said, my wife and I are truly blessed to live here. We have a tremendous sense of community, and we have a tremendous number of people who care a great deal about us. I am honored and privileged to be nominated for a second term on the Board of Trustees of this terrific village, and I thank you for your time and attention, and I thank my wife for her patience.
As usual, my friends have reminded me that there are certain things I forget procedurally at the meeting. This time, it was asking if there were any other nominations after receiving the first two. So is there any other nomination for village trustee? Seeing none, the nominations are officially closed. At this point, I would like to thank Cesar DeRose for the 3 terms that he has served as trustee, and he is continuing to finish his 6th year in office. And if he'd like to come up to the mic to say a few words about why he's not moving forward, that would be appreciated. And maybe one of these days we will be able to coax him into coming on to the Caucus Executive Committee.
I fell for this one time already. Good evening, everyone. It's bittersweet to say that I'm not seeking an additional nomination for another term, but I think I've given more than I had ever anticipated that I was going to, and gotten back even more than I had ever anticipated that I was going to. I would like to thank the mayor, former Mayor Vesio, whom I learned a great deal from. She's not here tonight, but former Mayor Lori Sullivan, Steve, the current mayor, former board members, current board members. You know who you are. I've learned a great deal from you. I had a very nice time and learned a lot working with all of you, and I hope that I made a little bit of a difference. Thank you.
One more little surprise to spring. Mr. Crowley, can I ask you to come up for a moment? I haven't warned him that I would do this, so.
Yes.
Brian is a long-term resident of the village, grew up here, moved away for a few years with his family, has come back established himself in a practice as an architect and is an alternate on the planning board. And he's been good enough to step up and volunteer to take over for Aaron Spring as corporate secretary, so he will be on the slate that's being nominated tonight. And hopefully he will serve for many more years. So is there anything you'd like to say to the audience, or just say hello?
I'll say hello tonight, thank you.
All right. I didn't warn him, so. Okay. Thank you, Brian. All right, at this stage, we will open the nominations for the People's Caucus Executive Committee, the positions of Chair, Vice Chair, Treasurer, and Secretary. We have a nomination, Mark?
Oh,
Mr. Wilson?
sure, I have a whole slate of nominations.
Okay,
Want it in the mic or no?
sure.
Again, thank everyone for their service. For the 4 slots that are open, Aaron Stern for chairman, Larissa Wayne Palmeno for vice chair, Brian Crowley for secretary, and Zach Giampa for treasurer. The at-large member is selected by the chairman, and the terms start on April 1 of this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a second for those nominations? Mr. O'Leary, thank you for that second. Okay. I did make notes so I can remember the rest of the stuff I'm supposed to do. If I could only read them. Actually, are there any other nominations for membership on the People's Caucus Executive Committee? Seeing none, the nominations for the Caucus Executive Committee are closed. As to matters of other business, we mentioned that we're going to be aggressively seeking additional funding, so you will probably receive appeals from us by email to keep the costs down. Hopefully you will be responsive to that. Since there is no contested position, there will not be a special voting meeting this year, so you can have January 22nd back for anything else you hope to do. And anybody have any other business they'd like to bring before the caucus? It appears not. Thank you one last thing. There will be petition drive this year as in prior years. It starts after the Meet the Candidates debate meeting, and we will collect at least 150 signatures. Hopefully, we will have additional volunteers to do that. The Caucus Executive Committee participates in it. The candidates participate in it. And many others in this village give their time and efforts to make that happen. That's the process of getting you on the ballots. The caucus will run an endorsement series of ads in the local newspapers. And that's about it. So thank you. May I have... Come on.
This is just something that, I don't know if you've seen these around, this is something that I did, I'm just trying to, I figured maybe you guys pass them out.
Why don't you step up and give out your name and your address so everybody knows who you are?
Hi, my name is Gary Urban, 186 Willow Drive in Briarcliff. This is just something, I don't know if any of you saw these around in the neighborhood. I've been putting these all over. I made this for my son. There's a big epidemic of drugs going around all over Westchester. A lot of our young people are dying, overdosing, left and right. Nobody likes to talk about it. I like to talk about it, okay? The schools have to educate the kids young, okay? 12, 13, 14 years old, a lot of kids are addicted to vaping and stuff right now. That's just a start. Once they start with pot, they go on to everything else. Before you know it, you're burying your kids, okay? I buried my son last Christmas Eve, okay? 32 years old, he's been addicted to drugs for a lot of years, didn't even know it. You don't know, they hide it, they love to fib and lie and, you know, whatever. This is something that I wrote for my son. People don't like to speak when you don't talk about it. When you don't talk about it, basically you're accepting it, okay? So you have to talk to your neighbors. I got a bunch of these here, you could all take one. pass it out, email it to your friends. I put them in bus stops, I put them in train stations. I go to doctor's office, nobody reads magazines anyway, but I put them in magazines, put them all over where people could see them, okay? It's very important. I put them on car windshields. It's something that's all over. Grandparents, talk to the grandchildren. A lot of times the kids don't like to talk to their parents, but they will talk to the grandparents, okay? They will talk to the teachers, they will talk to your neighbors. You have to let people know, because everyone loves a big, beautiful house in Westchester. Let me tell you, if you don't have a kid with you, the house ain't worth anything, okay? We do this all for our kids. We try to live a good life and everything, but the drugs are all over in Westchester, all over. But people think because you're in Westchester, it's safe. It's not safe, okay? I go to group meetings. My wife and I go for therapy. We also go to group therapy. There's people from every single town in Westchester go to this group therapy that we all lost our children, okay? It doesn't matter. 13 years old, 14 years old. There's one mother lost 2 children in 1 year, okay? 17 and 18 years old. A rehab doesn't always work as good as it is. It just doesn't always work. A lot of kids been in rehab 7, 8, 9 months. They come out, they still go right back to it. Kids been in prison 6 months, 7 months. They come out, they go right back to it, okay? So it's very hard. The main thing to do, educate the kids and let it start. Educate them so they don't start before it's too late. Because once they start, it snowballs, and it's not a fun life, okay? Not for them, not for the parents, not for their friends, not for the siblings, not for anybody. So I have a bunch of them here. If you can pass them out for me, if you, yeah. And just, like I said, I don't know if you've seen them. I put them in all over. This time of year, I don't put too many on car windshields because the weather is not too great, but it's just something that, that's very important. Of course, that I believe in, and I think everybody, the thing is just educate the kids. I don't really know. My son was 32. I went to Horace Greeley High School, went to Chapel Hill School System, went down to college, got a master's in finance, didn't matter. Smart kids, all the kids nowadays are super smart, doesn't matter. Once they start with the drugs, it's just a downhill spiral, and it affects the whole family. It affects everybody when you lose a kid.
Sorry for your loss, and
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for
much.
speaking out on the
Thank
subject.
you, appreciate you, let me speak.
Can you tell me your address again?
186 Willow Drive, Briarcliff.
I'm going to take advantage of having the pulpit in front of me to bring up a subject that is near and dear to all of our hearts. As everybody knows, there have been hostilities in Iran, and it's been being treated as a political matter. I wish we could export the nonpartisan caucus process to our national political arena so that people would come together without political positions and deal with the things that are most important. We have soldiers and sailors and Marines and nurses and embassy employees at risk, and hopefully this will be the end of any hostilities. Thank you for indulging me with that. At this point, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Halper. Do we have a second? Thank you, Rachel. We are now adjourned. Thank you all for attending.